If you could find your seats, we're going to go ahead and get started. Jason, you ready? All right, good evening and welcome to the Fairfield Area Chamber of Commerce's Meet the Candidate Forum. This event is free and open to the public thanks to our presenting sponsor, Freeman, Kevenides law firm. We appreciate Jim always making sure that this event happens. We also want to give some love to Jason Strong in the Fairfield Media Center for always live streaming for us without hesitation. Jason is always great to work with. My name is Mindy McAdams. I am the Executive Director of the Fairfield Area Chamber of Commerce, and I will be the moderator for this evening. This is not a debate, but it is an opportunity for candidates to express their views. While we understand that politics can make people passionate, we expect this to be a civil and respectful event. No shouting or jeering from the audience will be tolerated, and please hold your applause until the end of each section. Candidates are limited to 2 minutes per question with a 3-minute intro and a 3-minute close. There will be signs letting them know, so if you see the signs up down here, Miss Jessica Anderson from Washington State Bank is our timekeeper. Again, let's all remember that we're adults and act such, and we are going to start with our mayoral candidates this evening. We will introduce the candidates that are on the ballot. Mayor Connie Boyer is our incumbent. Candidate Douglas Flournoy is currently as a city council member, and candidate Rhonda Sanderson has not shown. So we will move on. So we will give each candidate 3 minutes to introduce themselves. Mayor Connie, would you like to go first?
Great, thank you very much. Thank you to the Chamber and the Fairfield Arts and Convention Center for hosting, and for Jason and Fairfield Media for live streaming tonight and recording so that those not here can watch later. It's an honor and privilege to serve as your mayor. I have maintained very high standards of ethics, integrity, honesty, openness, and accessibility in serving as your elected representative. I have strongly encouraged citizen involvement to accomplish community initiatives and have provided extensive personal support and time for individuals and families, community organizations, and businesses through face-to-face direct meetings, phone conversations, and emails. For just one example of my continuing emphasis to get people informed on what decisions council are making, and this was also with the encouragement of our city administrator. In the last term, I implemented work sessions before each council meeting so that the sessions can be live streamed in the council chambers. These now public work sessions are twice a month just before regular council meetings. I encourage you to come in person, watch via live stream, or watch at your convenience because they are recorded. We have many projects underway to accomplish in housing, building infrastructure, technology, and quality of life improvements. We have recently been awarded the status of Main Street by the state of Iowa. This will help to revitalize our downtown. We must move forward, but at the same time, be a hawk about our finances so that our financial stability and bond rating remain in excellent condition. The city representatives have been and will remain responsible in how your tax dollars are spent. Hopefully this forum will further clarify the direction I'm eager to continue working on with you to make even greater practical progress for our very special city. Thank you.
Doug?
Good evening. Welcome to the Candidates Forum. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event, the Arts and Convention Center for allowing us to use this beautiful venue, and I want to thank you each one individually for attending tonight's forum. I think citizen involvement in these kinds of decisions is very, very important, and I really encourage and appreciate your participation. My experience is I was a teacher, professor at Indian Hills Community College for 30 years in chemistry, 29.6 years according to Personnel Department. And when I moved to Fairfield back in '94, my first thought after moving here was, I'm going to live my life here as if I'm going to stay here forever. And it wasn't very long after that that I ran for a school board, and I served on that board for 12 years, the Fairfield Community School District. I served 1 year as president. That 1 year I served as president was also the year where the Lockridge community, well, they used to call it that, the Lockridge School was closed, an elementary building, the heart of that community. That was a very difficult decision and a very difficult time. And I think I can speak with pride about the way I handled, as president, that situation. And yes, people were upset, people were passionate, and people were very unhappy. But we got through it in a very civil manner and very calmly, and ultimately with success. We did have to close that school. That was the vote. And back in those days, you know, the budget was very tight, as they always are. And now we've closed more schools since then as the district consolidated. When I was on the school board, I got invited to join Rotary International here in town, the Rotary Club. Been in there for 23 years. I served also there as president, foundation chair, and I've also served as chairman of various district-wide communities. The district covers about the second half, the bottom half of the state of Iowa, basically, and not quite all the way west, but nearly so, where I managed 2 committees successfully as grants chair for what they call District Simplified Grants, of which I wrote 18 for this community while I was a member of Rotary, still am. And I also chaired the International Grants Committee, where I dealt with people all around the world, and I wrote about 15 or 18 grants internationally as well.
Thank you, Doug. Okay, we will rotate who starts each question. There is no rebuttal, as this is not a debate. We will start with Doug. What are your top 3 priorities if elected? Go ahead. Yep.
Sorry.
Nope, you're good.
My top priority will be community engagement. I really think that's important. I don't know if I have a reputation yet, but people certainly know that if you ask me a question, I will sit there and listen to you and talk to you until you're done. It doesn't matter the circumstances. I came out of Live on the Square event a couple of Saturdays ago and ran into the former UPS driver who used to drive around the square for years. He's retired now. And ended up having a conversation with him about one-way versus two-way streets downtown till about 11 o'clock. And that was about an hour. And then we parted ways. He wanted to go have a drink, and I didn't want to stay up any longer. But that's the kind of time I put into people when they want to talk to me about something. Another constituent asked me about something that was on her mind one day at the farmer's market, and I spent 45 minutes with her talking about her issue. Saw her the next day and spent another 45 minutes talking to her until she was satisfied. And the next time I saw her, she just thanked me for all the time I gave her when she wanted that time. Even when people were contentious with me, I was stopped at Hy-Vee one day by someone who was angry with me over some issue. And I sat and listened and talked to that person until they were done being unhappy with me, and they went their way. So, I can hardly read that sign. Is that 30 minutes, 30 seconds? The green is 30 seconds? Okay, is it yellow? All right, anyway. Community engagement, obviously housing is important, and I think along with community engagement, we really need to do the website, and we need a city app for communication purposes. So for me, community engagement is not you looking for me, it's me looking for you. So I will be out in the community.
Thank you. Mayor Connie, what are your top 3 priorities if elected? And you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. I agree, housing initiatives are still top priority, and we still have some things related to do to that, including working on some policy for low to moderate income funds, working with students. I actually talked to somebody here tonight who's interested in a tiny home village, so still like to see that happen. We have a couple grants that we're working on. One that we applied for with Grow Fairfield and the Iowa State Extension. This is kind of the second process of our housing initiatives. So there are several things under housing initiatives. I really would like to see the council budget for a strategic plan next year. We had one in 2021, a small one that was just city level. We have not done a large one since about 2022 or 3, I believe, when Ed Malloy did that. It did a 20-year plan, so I'd really like to see a bigger plan, see what things were missing, and again, engage the community for that. Something that's coming up that I think is really important is looking forward to the vacation of our current fire station as we move into the newer fire station next year. So currently we have 3 buildings, the old fire station, or the current fire station that we have. What will happen to it? We have some growing pains at City Hall. So we'd like to look at that. And we also have an underutilized building with the Roosevelt Center. So I want to convene a task force to really look at those issues. Currently, the city staff are completing a survey. We did this with council at the work session, so looking forward to seeing what city staff think, and then also, again, convening this task force so that we can move forward on those buildings.
Thank you. Okay, Connie, you'll go first this time. What is your long-term vision for Fairfield over the next 5 to 10 years? What do you see as the city's greatest strengths, and what challenges must we address to build on them?
Yeah.
And it's question. 2 minutes.
Well, I'm going to say one of the challenges is always money. There's never seems to be enough to go around. You know, we all kind of know that. And another challenge is the state legislature continues to look at ways to lower property tax, and it looks like what I'm hearing is they're looking at ways to change TIF, which we've used very effectively. So those are some challenges. I think some of our bigger strengths, overall economic vitality and stability is pretty good here in Fairfield. It's people. We have strong history and a good entrepreneurship, bright people, good education, arts and culture. All of that is part of our history, and it's ingrained in our history, and I think that's important. Creative people here to help solve problems. The citizens are committed to our community, as well as our organizations and our businesses. I think those are all some of our strengths. What I would really like to see over the next many years is to get the downtown revitalized. I'd love to grow by 1,000 or 2 people. So we have more critical mass. We can have a stronger downtown. We need more housing for that. We need more employers. So I'd like to see all of our major foundations be fully funded, and like to enliven people to see them consider that in their state plans, which is obviously not city business, but I think that just brings great stability to our community. Just think of what Jefferson County Foundation has created here, and they've done so much good stuff for our community.
Thank you. Doug, what is your long-term vision for Fairfield over the next 5 to 10 years? What do you see as the city's greatest strengths, and what challenges must be addressed to build on them? You have 2 minutes.
All right, so in the next 5 to 10 years, which is actually a very short period of time, considering that in a year's time we might be able to take down 2 or 3 dilapidated homes, if we're lucky. But we need a long-term plan for the downtown for revitalization. We have done a number of things down there, but there's no long-term vision with the total cost associated with it. So I would like to see that developed and then implemented. I mean, not just 1 or 2-way streets downtown, but sidewalks. What you're going to do with the Central Park down there, I'd like to see it possibly expanded out to 2 lanes of traffic and a wider park. And we need to maintain our amenities that we have to offer visitors and people who want to move here, to attract individuals, to attract businesses. And of course, we need good housing. So that is a big issue for us, as it is across the country. We probably need to take down 10 homes a year to keep up with the pace. Our strength is the creative people we have in our town. We have a lot to offer people as it is. We have a small town charm with a big city opportunities. I think that's a very big strength of ours. Our challenges are going to be the budget, keeping young people here, and maintaining the quality of life that we have.
Thank you. Doug will go first this time. Fairfield has a strong entrepreneurial culture, sometimes called Silicon Valley. How would you build on that and attract new businesses or jobs to Fairfield?
Okay, so I'm not an entrepreneur, but I know a couple. And I think what we need to do, especially with the young people, is sit down with them and find out what they need to be successful, and provide them with training, provide them with mentors, provide them with examples of how they can create, develop, and grow a business, for example. Back in the day when the Art Walk was getting started, we were presented with the challenge of how do you get an artist to start a business? They're artists, they don't know how to run a business. And we would bring in people to teach them classes and show them how to get started, how to maintain their operations. And that's what you have to do with these people, is support them. Meet with them on a regular basis. My philosophy is, I don't tell you what you need to do, you tell me what you need, and then I'm here to support that need. That's how I've used my expertise in writing grants locally. That's how I've used my expertise in writing and doing grants internationally. I always ask people what they need and how can I help you achieve that goal. That should be the job of the city and the council when you have entrepreneurs in your city who want to start a business. And we should encourage them, not discourage them. So there was a gentleman who told me that he had wanted to start a small home community here in town. And he talked to people downtown or at City Hall, and they had discouraged him. And he said, well, it wasn't possible. The revenue from your home for the city will not be enough to support infrastructure. He walked away discouraged. I said, well, why don't you come and talk to the city council? Don't talk to a city employee, like the Sierra Club with the RAC. Come talk to the city council directly, make your case, and you'll get a bit different response, I think. He's too discouraged to change his mind at that point. But I think if we can encourage people to get in front of the city council, talk to them directly, find out what they need, give them what they need, I think we can promote that aspect.
You. Connie, Fairfield has a strong entrepreneurial culture, sometimes called Silicon Valley. How would you build on that and attract new businesses or jobs to Fairfield?
I think one of the first things is we have to continue to look at the groundwork that we've already laid by our ordinances and codes and what we're doing, and continue to talk to our businesses and working in partnership with the chamber and grow Fairfield. That is the vital piece, is making sure we have fertile soil to grow businesses. I also understand that the young people, and I'm talking about high school, and right now, in this specific instance, that they would like to talk to adults about different careers, how to start businesses, because they're all going, you know, what's my next step? Some of those kids do not want to go to college, and we know that we have an extreme shortage of tradesmen coming up. And so I think we need to grow that connection with our high school students and maybe even younger. There is a job, I think it's a job, not a job fair, but an event coming up at the high school where kids get to talk to people in different careers. I'm planning on going to that. That should be a lot of fun. So we have to think early with these kids to get them thinking that what's possible in their mind and what do they want to do. But again, I think it's the partnerships in our community and making sure that we have the right ordinances and change them when we need to. And as Doug said, you know, people should be encouraged to come talk to council, go talk to FEDA, and our major employers about possibilities.
Thank you. Connie, how will you balance economic growth with environmental sustainability?
All right, so the Resilience Action Committee was put together about 5 or 6 years ago. And the Sierra Club had come to the council and made the basic presentation was they wanted to go through our comprehensive plan, pull out everything that's in there that related to their interests, which were the sustainability and resiliency issues, and implement those on behalf of the city if they could. And they began to put together this program called the RAC, the Resilience Action Committee, which I was a member of the management team for that, and I've been with them for 5 or 6 years now. And I was able to go and City Council identified a source of funding for the Sustainability Coordinator, and I was able to convince the council to spend $15,000 a year out of the Solid Waste Fund to fund that position. We did that in cooperation with the university, who put in $15,000, and then Morgan and I cannot read what's on that paper. Is that green?
It's blue. It says 1 minute.
Huh?
1 minute.
Okay. And so that sustainability coordinator and the RAC can work with businesses to implement processes that are sustainable and resilient. And we're working hand in hand with those individuals. There's about 20 or 30 people on that committee. And I think that's a good starting point to try and transfer that technology from the hypothesis and the theory that's out there to reality in our businesses.
Thank you. Mayor Connie, how will you balance economic growth with environmental sustainability?
Well, I think this is one reason we need a new strategic plan to really balance those types of things. We continue to look for grants that are available to help us in this effort. We were really hoping, 2 years ago, I sat up here and said, hey, we were working on an agreement with Alliant Energy to have a solar field. We had that agreement all signed, and then a year later, they backed out of that contract. It was really unfortunate, but they're not doing those kind of projects anymore. So, unfortunate for Fairfield, but I think we have to keep working with Alliant and, again, other organizations, looking for grants and trying to balance that with our strategic plan. And also, we identified in our last Saturday work session that in our comp plan, we have a lot of general types of initiatives in there. And it's meant to be that way, to because it's not only a to-do, but it's a lot have to do with policy, and so that we can see how does this fit in when we're talking about land use, et cetera. We can refer back to that and say, well, what did we say that we were going to do? So I think within that and within a strategic plan, we can drill down into some of those items and get into the weeds a little bit more and put some action items to that comp plan and a strategic plan.
Thank you. Connie will go first this time. How do you see the role of the mayor in working with the city council, city administrator, and community groups? And how will you ensure collaboration, transparency, and accountability?
So I believe that we have been doing a very good job of working as a team, and I meet regularly with city staff. So and we have a very good working relationship. I think one of the things that I want to do going forward is, number one, these work sessions are working really well. I think the council has enjoyed having that predictability of the work sessions. And so I would like to open up one session every quarter that's just open to the public. You get to come to this informal session. I mean, we invite you there to come anyway, but to have an informal session to address any needs that you have. I'd like to encourage every council member to have their own listening posts. I want to continue to have, I participate in community dialogues with Werner almost every month, and we're just going to reinstate what used to be called City Biz with Fairfield Media, so that after the council meeting, myself or city administrator or a council member will discuss what happened in that council meeting. So we need to continue to find different ways to communicate with our citizens, and just know that the council members, myself, city administrator, the doors are open. So please feel free to be comfortable calling us, coming to see us, and we enjoy those discussions face-to-face and really getting into the weeds.
Okay, Doug, how do you see the role of the mayor in working with the city council, city administrator, and community groups? And how will you ensure collaboration, transparency, and accountability?
All right, the role of the mayor is to be the executive officer of the city. The mayor signs all the ordinances, resolutions, and checks. The mayor also runs the meeting. The mayor has to know the rules of the meeting, has to execute the rules correctly, and make sure everybody's treated fairly, everybody's voice is heard, and there's no division that's other than disagreement on a policy, for example, within the council. In other words, the mayor has to be a team builder. In terms of collaboration, you have to go out and talk to people and work with them and find what you have in common with those individuals. Be receptive to their ideas, even if they're contrary to what you might be thinking. Be flexible in your thinking, and be a good listener. You really have to be a good listener. One of the essential features, I think, and one of the mistakes we make on council is that we don't learn together at the same time in the same way from the same people. So that needs to be critical. The mayor is the face of Fairfield, and I really believe in walking around management, not a bunker mentality. So I'll be out in the town having community potlucks, talking to people, sitting at Cafe P, having a listening station. I don't expect you to call me or look on the website to find out what's going on. I'll be out there in the community talking to you as your mayor, communicating and listening.
Thank you. Doug, housing is a priority for Fairfield and would increase our workforce. How would you approach housing affordability, housing quality, and dilapidated homes?
All right, so we have the project going on in the southwest corner of town. Those homes are going to be probably, I'm understanding, somewhere in the order of $250,000 to $300,000 a piece to start. Those are going to be outside the price range of most people. If we bring new people to town and they take those homes, that's great. Some people in town are going to be moving up into those homes from the existing homes. Hopefully, the homes that are being left will be still functioning well and be priced in the right range. But we need to bring in lower priced, low MI, what they call it, low MI, lower moderate income homes for communities here. And we're doing that with FIDA in the sense that we take a home, if we can take it down and we have a lot, we can then place a prison industries home on there. We've done that twice now over on the 6th Street area. And those are affordable. They might be on the order of $120,000 to get started. They're small, 2-bedroom homes. In terms of, what was the second part of your question?
Housing affordability, housing quality, and dilapidated homes.
Oh, dilapidated homes. So our streets department head came to us one day and offered to take down homes. They cost us about $15,000 to $20,000 a piece to take down. The insurance company kind of balked, did not say no, but the administrator told us at a meeting one night that they were concerned about insurance and job descriptions. We need to get those people trained to do that job, and then we can implement them and using them to help take down some of the dilapidated homes that we have.
Okay.
Ready for me?
Yes,
Okay.
sorry. Housing is a priority. I was going to cough. Housing is a priority for Fairfield and would increase our workforce. How would you approach housing affordability, housing quality, and dilapidated housing?
Great, that's a good question. There's lots of things there. One of the first things that we're going to do coming up this spring is reapply for Thriving Communities. That's a state program. And to put it in a nutshell, it helps developers build homes at a lower cost to bring newer homes here and be able to make it affordable for them to build. And so that's one of the big things. I think I mentioned this. We're applying for the Rural Innovation Grant with FIDA and ISU. That's the second phase of our housing, so that's going to be important. We need to really work on, I would like to see Habitat Humanity work with their Brush with Kindness program so that we can help homes spiff up a little bit and get some attention that they need. We are working with the Rural Housing Trust Fund to be able to give them a little bit more money so that as those lower income people need help with new windows, new roof, furnaces, air conditioning, a new deck on their house, whatever it is, that they have a little bit more money to work with. So I look forward to that. You know, we need to work on every single section. We need to tear down homes. We do have a private individual who has committed a certain amount of funds to tear down funds, so we look forward to that happening. We are working on a policy for empty buildings, dilapidated buildings. So this is a process of delicacy of how to do that, to work with our citizens to move forward on this. I know in my neighborhood there's about 8 homes that are unoccupied. Some of them have been rentals in the past, and they're not now. I'm not sure why. One's apparently being used for storage, and you know, as those sit empty.
Thank you. Doug, how will you balance growth, new business, housing, and infrastructure with preserving Fairfield's character, community values, and quality of life?
Could you speak closer to the microphone and say that again?
How will you balance growth, new business, housing, infrastructure with preserving Fairfield's character, community values, and quality of life?
I think that Fairfield has a character that transcends the new structures that we put up. There's a large part of this community that's really interested in preserving its past and the history. So the downtown and smaller, close to the center of town, the historic buildings are being preserved and maintained by people, and the city, of course, will encourage that kind of thing. New structures on the edge of town are going to be obviously modern and move away from that. So we need to maintain that small town feeling that we have by having community events that bring people out and bring them together, developing stronger sense of neighborhood communities. We can take, not all of these lots have to be built on, and that's generally the go-to attitude. We can put in community gardens, we can put in pocket parks, and allow communities to have an identity around those kinds of functions. Growth has to be managed, and it can be difficult, but really for us it's more challenging about getting the growth, not necessarily managing the growth so much.
Thank you. Connie.
Go ahead.
You're good. How will you balance growth, new business, housing, infrastructure with preserving Fairfield's character, community values, and quality of life?
So I think we need to really talk about extraterritorial zoning at some point more seriously, because we do need to manage that growth, and as much as we can do inside our community for infill housing. One of the things that I'd like to see happen is reinstate certified local governments so that our downtown downtown building owners can get historic tax credits. I think our Main Street program is going to be very important for that, that they understand what they can get help with, and it's going to be vital for the community or for the city council also to provide guidelines for historic restoration for our downtown and that downtown corridor. I think the Master Arts and Culture Plan that's being developed by a multitude of organizations that we have here in town is going to help us create that downtown feeling and the culture that we want for our community.
Thank you. Connie, how will you ensure input from residents in all parts of the city, including marginalized or underserved community, and maintain transparency in council decision-making?
Well, again, I think trying to reach out as much as we can in different ways. We're finding, and we know that people get their information differently. So I think we need to get out in the community, in those wards, and our council members needs to get out in each of their wards and talk to their residents. I know one thing that, Judy Ham was really good at that, about getting out into her own ward. She had people call her. It's important that we have easy ways for people to leave messages on your phone. I know we've had some that you can't leave messages on phones, so that's been problematic. And we need to provide meeting space for people to come and talk about that ward and maybe its challenges that it has in that ward. So we need to just break it down, and that's one reason that I want to give an open time in the work sessions for people to come and talk about what they want. But also we need to get out in the neighborhoods a little bit more.
Thank you. Doug, how will you ensure input from residents in all parts of the city, including marginalized or underserved communities, and maintain transparency in council decision-making?
All right, I think it's really important for the mayor to put pressure on council members to get them out into the community and involved. So there were community potlucks going on in town for a couple of years, and I would go to most, if not all of them, on Sundays. And I would like to continue that tradition where community members can come to a location, have a potluck. You can sit down across from the mayor and have lunch or dinner together. Do that once a month and have other council members there, of course, and receive input from people from all over the community. And I find that to be a very good way of hearing what people have to say when they're in a relaxed environment. City Hall is just a little too tense for most people, and they find it very uncomfortable to be there. I would like to be there before a regular council meeting and have a half-hour listening post once a month for people who can come in and talk to the mayor or other council members one-on-one before a meeting starts. As far as transparency goes, I think we can do a lot to be more transparent. One of the things I think we could do is sit down with citizens and go through the budget. And when I got on the council and I was on the Ways and Means Committee, I would go to a meeting of the committee and sit down there with Rebecca Loper or the city administrator, and I'd have just a whole slew of questions to ask because I could not understand what it was saying. And now, after years of doing that, by the way, I'd be the only one of the committee asking questions. We need to have little line items that explain to residents what those line items mean in some cases so that they're more transparent. We can do the same thing with city agendas. You know, you have an item on there that's on the agenda. It's not clear what is being done with that item. It's being passed, but what does it mean? You know, we had a little note there on the agenda that would explain to residents what actually is happening. I think it would be much better for observers.
Thank you. Doug, what is your approach to supporting small businesses, especially in challenging economic cycles?
Okay, the downtown is occupied by relatively small businesses, right? And we need to provide whatever services they need. So I can't tell you what a particular business downtown needs, but I can go into an office like I did the other day downtown and ask the person what they thought they needed. And they said, well, we need better snow removal. Or there was an electrical box down on the square that was open, had sat there open for a couple days. It rained, got water in it, and he complained to me that it hadn't been taken care of. I was down on the square for live on the square one night, and it got dark, and all the light posts around there, half of them, the lights did not come on. So if we walk around and talk to people and find out what they need, like I said earlier, then you can provide for them directly what their need is. It's not me to try and imagine what they think they need. I need to ask them, and they tell me what they need, and then we provide that service as best we can.
Thank you. Connie, what is your approach to supporting small businesses, especially in challenging economic cycles?
Well, I think what Doug said is very important, to talk to people and see what they need, but they also have to be responsible to come to us and tell us what they need. I think, you know, we need to understand who our experts are in our community and how they can use technology better to support their business. I think that was really important during COVID times, is to have experts help. How do I change? If I've got a retail store, how do I change because nobody's coming into my store? So I know some of our community experts did help businesses that way, and so we have to identify them and make those connections. And I think we do that through, again, the partnership of Grow Fairfield and the Chamber and us and those businesses.
Thank you. What do you see as the top 3 things that need to change in our community?
Is that for me?
Yes, it's your turn.
Top 3 things to change? I think we need better code enforcement. I have people regularly tell me, why are grasses so overgrown? Why is a house such a mess? We don't have building codes. I think that's one thing that we need to get serious about. I think our quality of life things, we have some things that we could add, but that's going to take some work for fundraising and that kind of thing. That's tough questions. One I hadn't really thought about in that way. Certainly, things that we've talked about, well, from the city side, we do need, definitely, we need a better website. We've known that for years. Again, I'm hoping council can find it in the budget this next year to really do something about that. The city staff right now is working on better notification system so that you can get the information that you need easier and the alerts easier and quicker. So I think those are, again, some important things from the city standpoint that we need to improve. And well, that's not changed, so I'm going to stop there.
Doug, what are the 3 things that need to change in Fairfield?
Well, I think we need better planning with regard to the downtown, for example. So we've been talking a lot about it. We've been doing things over the last 20 years. It's kind of hit and miss. There's no comprehensive plan about the downtown, so I think we could have a comprehensive plan for the downtown itself, everything from repairing all the sidewalks to putting in 2-way streets to what the Central Park is going to look like. So that's one thing. We don't have that. We've been working on it, not the plan. We've been working on doing things, but we're not working on a plan with a vision and a total cost associated with it and a timeline. Maintenance. So a lot of the buildings have professional cleaning, but the Sportsplex down in the Cambridge does not. And I get a lot of complaints about that. And I think that we need to put that into our budget for the sake of our residents and customers. I think we need to change the attitude of the community toward the look and feel of your community. Certain communities take more pride in their community than others. I think if there's a sidewalk patrol that's taking care of weeds, why do we even need such a thing? Why aren't businesses doing it themselves? Why is a sidewalk in front of businesses on Burlington filled with small rock instead of replaced properly? I know people are trying to help, and it's useful, but I think it's presenting more of a problem than a solution. And the real solution is to do it the right way. And last thing we need is better communication between the city and residents. So that means a modern app, a modern website, and not pulling in people, but pushing out information to them, the part of the information that we have that they want.
Thank you. We will move to closing statements. Jess, this is a 3-minute, so you will have 3 minutes each. Since Connie started, we'll let Doug start with closing.
Well, I want to thank you for being here tonight and listening to us. Fairfield's a great community. When I moved to the area back in the 1990s, I took the job at Indian Hills. My wife and I looked at Ottumwa. We looked at Washington. We looked at Fairfield. We looked at other potential locations for settling down. And what struck us when we came through Fairfield was the look and feel of this community. It's different. Why was it different? Because it's eclectic. And I like that. I think we should preserve that to the extent possible. So we should encourage I mean, people complain to me about the way certain buildings are painted down on Burlington. I think you know which one I'm talking about. I don't think it's a problem. I think we should celebrate what this person wants to do with their business. It might reminisce of how Victorians used to paint their homes. My experience on the city council for 12 years, currently Mayor Pro Tem, I think makes me well qualified, along with my experience on the school board and my experience interacting with people all over the world, gives me the skills I already have to work collaboratively with people, work with people that are different than myself. When I retired, I went to work at Maharshi School for 2 years. I felt very much at home over there. The people were great. I still go out with friends from over there. I retired after 2 years at Maharshi School, decided to call it a day for teaching altogether. And I have those skills to go out and talk to people. And I really think that the mayor needs to get out into the community and talk to those individuals, all individuals of all likes. Whether you like them or not, whether you think highly of them or not, they all deserve to be treated with respect and with consideration. And I'm the person to do that. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be here. I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Why do I serve? Well, because I want to make a difference. And I want to bring new visions, new characteristics, new ways of behaving to City Hall and to Council. And there's some things that have happened recently in the past that I really don't appreciate, don't like the way it happened, and I want to change that. So I appreciate you coming out on Tuesday, November 4th, and you give me your vote as your next mayor, and I promise I will do my best to commit myself to integrity, to full transparency, to accessibility, and certainly to community engagement, because the citizens of this community are the rulers of this community. We are just your servants, and we are just your representatives. And what we should be doing is what reflects your vision, your desires, and your dreams. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Connie?
In closing, I want to summarize a few of the major items that we'll be working on with the City Council, administration, and citizens. First, let's talk about housing projects. Again, I've mentioned this before, and this is not the whole list. Obviously, there's smaller things that go in here, but again, we need to get that Thriving Communities designation so that our housing stock can continue and bring some new housing here at a lower cost. Really working on that Rural Innovation Grant and going the next step on the housing initiatives that we need to do. And we're working to finalize the low to moderate income funds. The city approximately has $200,000 to work with, and we want to use those funds in the best way possible. Infrastructure projects, we know we must do more with less. As I mentioned, state legislature continues to look at lowering property taxes, and they're looking at TIF changes this year. So that's going to make it more challenging for our budgeting process. So we have used TIF very effectively, and along that we need to use all sustainable practices that we can, especially for our city buildings. We need to improve the city's website. I think we both agree on that, and our notification system so that you can get the information quicker and easier and get the information that you need. We have growing pains, again, at City Hall. We have buildings that are either not being utilized fully or they need a redo. So we need to really figure out going forward what that's going to look like. We need to lower the costs of those buildings as we can. So one of the ways that we do that is pull the citizens together with a task force and city administration and some city staff to do that, and council members. So we look forward to opening or starting that task force soon after the first of the year. We have quality of life projects that we need to work on. The Master Arts and Culture Plan, which is being worked on now by the Public Art Committee, and that's made up of a lot of different members from different cultural organizations here. I know our city Park and Rec director would like to have a splash pad for our families and young kids to use. I think that'd be a great addition to one of our city parks. The youth would like a pump track. And when I heard about a pump track, I didn't know what that was, so look it up. It looks like a fun thing. We also want an all-inclusive ADA playground at O.B. Nelson. We want to continue our tree diversity program. And we need to help support our Main Street program. That's where that planning is going to come for our downtown, and we need to help them with downtown building restoration guides and reinstating Fairfield as a certified local government. This, again, will help get those building owners tax credits. And
Thank you.
oh, can I just say, we're going to have a 250th birthday next year. Week-long
Thank you.
celebration.
So give them a round of applause. It is not easy to be up here. Thank you to you both for being here. We appreciate all that you are currently doing for our city.
Thank you.
And we'll take just 1 second while we switch and talk about school. Superintendent Zach Weigel to take the stage to give you a factual presentation about the school referendum on the ballot. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Check one. Got it. All right, we'll get those slides up. Okay, so yeah, my name is Zach Weigel, school superintendent in year 2 here in Fairfield. Super excited about being able to share a little information tonight. Would also encourage you, if you want to ask more questions or get a little bit more insight, we have our final bond forum on the 20th, that Monday night at the ACT building at 5:45 p.m. A lot of the information will be the same, but you'll have some more opportunities to ask questions that night as well. Go ahead to the next slide. And I won't be using all of these, so I'll get you through them as we go here. I do have a clicker if you want to plug it in. Yeah, the first thing I want to hit on is really our mission and vision, and you can go to the next slide. We spent last year really identifying who we are as a system, what we need to have in place if we want our kids to learn and grow at high levels every single year. And this wasn't something we did at the board table. It wasn't something we did at the admin table. This was really from our teachers, our support staff, kind of on up. We asked them, what do we need to have in place? And with that, there were 4 themes that came out of that work last year at the building levels. We have to have belief in our kids, our students, a culture of collaboration. We have to be focused on results, and we have to be accountability driven. And so this is kind of our foundation, our building block, if you will, moving forward of our strategic plan. So then when you jump up to those district priorities, again, these are specifically things that we at the admin table and the board table have looked at to create our strategic plan. Student success. This could be academically, this could be athletically, this could be in the fine arts world, but that's a priority. Over the next 5 years, we've got specific targets that we want to hit aligned with student success. Belonging. Every adult, every student that's a part of our system, we want them to feel like they're a valid, valuable member of our organization. Financial health, fiscal responsibility, I'll hit on this in a little bit. As part of this, we've had some really hard decisions that we've had to make, both at the board table and in the buildings around cuts. But we've made some really great gains in regards to where we're at, and I'll show that here in a little bit. And then finally, and this is where this GeoBond vote really comes into play, is facility improvements and maintenance. Continuing to prioritize what we've got, making it look nice, making our spaces as modern as we can for our kids, but then also making investments like this one. And that all comes down to what we want to be. We want to be a destination district where all of the people involved in it feel like they belong, they learn every single year, and they're growing every single year. That's our vision. Next slide. Keep going, next one. So you may ask, why are we here again? This was on the ballot last year and it didn't pass, right? Well, 58% of the vote was a yes. So more than half of our community. We need that 60%, right, plus one. This was over 4,000 yes votes when it was all said and done. We sent out a survey. We had right around 500 responses to that survey, and they definitely wanted us to try to get this on the ballot again. That was definitely a theme. They wanted it to be cheaper from a project standpoint. So the cost overall has been reduced from 56 million to 49 million. The GEO bond itself is at 39.5. That's what the vote is for. The rest of it will be covered with saved dollars. The other feedback that was a theme was we don't want to have fourth grade in that building to start with. And so we've removed some of the space, lowered the square footage. That's, again, how we've been able to reduce the cost. We had over 900 signatures brought to the board table, again, to get it back on the ballot. Next slide. The facilities assessment a few years ago really pointed out some specific things. Again, you can read these. I'm not going to read through every single one of them, but right now the space as it sits, and we've done some things. We've created kind of a parent trap or secure entrance that is kind of makeshift right now. It doesn't meet any of the ADA Disabilities Act. It's not in compliance. We're grandfathered in, essentially, is kind of how it sits. So it'd be nice to have a space that is more that way for our guests when they come for different events. There's a lot of drainage issues, a lot of leaking, and it's not so much from the roof itself, it's more within the walls. And if this doesn't pass, we're going to find a way to fix it. It's just going to be really, really expensive. So the classrooms are smaller than they should be. It's just not conducive to the way that students need to learn in the current time frame that we're in. So next slide. Yeah, so what's this going to do for us? For me, a big one, just listening to the two candidates up here a little bit ago, it's about the community. It's about providing something that we're proud of. It's about providing something that people want to be a part of. As far as enrollment goes, rural Iowa over the years has continued to decline, right? We look at our certified enrollments. It's been going down for the last few years. We're going to have some news next week that we're going to share connected to that once it's final. But there's some really positive things that we've seen over the last couple years with our enrollment. So that's an exciting thing. This, I think, will allow us to continue to do that and maybe bring some people from other neighboring communities either back or to our district. Yeah, I think about the overall just satisfaction from an employee standpoint. If we have employees that really enjoy being a part of the system, they have an amazing space to teach, to support our kids, I think that's a really big positive. Makes it more appealing. And then ultimately with this proposed structure, there's going to be expansion for different areas as well, both in the CTE world and on the fine arts side and on the athletic side with additional space. Next slide. This is a rendering of what it currently sits as far as how it looks. This is different from last year. Again, we kind of went back to the drawing board based on that feedback. Next slide. The site plan, and I'll kind of point out some things here. Again, this is a change. You can see as it sits, there's, this is the GEO header trench. The dotted line right here that goes to that won't be impacted at all, the way that it sits. The current building, which is the dotted line right over here, the dotted lines, the current middle school right there, that'll be demolished. It won't happen until our kids move into the new space, so it won't interrupt or disrupt too much the learning that takes place while the structure is being built. Tennis courts will stay intact right there. This is the current parking lot as it sits. This is the U-Drive kind of as it sits. The new middle school would be essentially right over where the football field currently is. We'd add more parking, both for events. We'd add a road here between. We're not sure yet on how this is all going to get finalized, because what we really want to do is bring more people into the planning process or the finalizing process. Next slide. Again, this is Not final by any means, but it's about 108-ish thousand square feet. We'll have the academic wings, 5th and 6th grade. This will be on top, 7th and 8th grade. Library space. We'll have the same, not the same, but we'll have an auditorium / cafeteria space. We'll have our district office. We'll actually be moving over here as well. This is that small little rectangle right here with some offices. We've reduced significantly at our central office from a staffing standpoint over the last couple of years, just because we didn't need as many people that were there. So we don't need all of that space. So we would sell the current ACT building, the roadway building. That's going to save us right around $70,000 a year just from a reoccurring cost standpoint. And then obviously whatever we would generate from the sale of those would be another piece of good information. A couple gyms. We'll have a multi-purpose room. All things kind of fine arts. And then we'll have a variety of other rooms. We'll have space for our homeschool assistance program as well. All of that will be part of the new space. Next slide. Yeah, so I did want to hit on this because, like I said, this is something I think that's been kind of a hot topic for different people, but we have the full report that you can access on our website. We've pushed this out to our families, to our staff, to make sure they all have the information. But really what you see is the last couple years, fiscal years 23 through 25. And when we get to 25, a couple things I want to make sure we point out as part of our strategic plan. You saw one of those priorities was financial health. The solvency ratio, this is one we measure pretty regularly and keep out in front of us. It was going in a really bad direction. We're back to where we should be. It should be between 15 and 20%. So that's a positive right here. And the way that we forecasted this out the next 5 years, based on enrollment numbers, is going to keep us right where it should be. Another one that's important to look at is the days net cash ratio. So this is really actual money that we have on hand. Again, we were going in the wrong direction. We were able to get that back up. Should be between 90 and 120 is the prescribed kind of number that we want to have. Where's the other one here? We did that one. Unspent balance, right here. This was another one that we want to have above 15%, and it was going the wrong direction. So really positive things here. What we see here is the 72.44. This is a number that should be closer to 75 to 80. That's the percent of our general fund that we want to have go to our people. And it's not high enough yet. So we've got teams of people that are working on that. Our teachers union, we finalized a 5-year agreement, which is awesome. They were great to work with last year. We're working with other hourly employees this year to really up the ante. So again, if we want to fulfill our vision of being a destination district, we should have high-level wages for the people that are a part of our system, regardless of what their role is. So that's going to be going up, just so you know. Next slide. These are just some property tax relief things that maybe not everyone's aware of. So I want to make sure that all of you do know this. There's an additional $6,500 reduction for the 65 and over homestead exemption. There's a seniors and disabled low income exemption, disabled veteran credit. That's 100% property tax exemption. There's the military service exemption. These are all things, if you don't know about, you need to find a way to make sure you get them if you will be under these. The family farm credit, again, it's applying to the county assessor by July 1st. So our CFO, who couldn't be here tonight, but he'll be there on Monday at our next forum. He's a great resource. If you want to reach out to him, he could definitely give you more information on that. Next slide. Okay, so when you look at the actual dollar amount, yes, this is going to cost us money. It doesn't matter if you own a home, if you own a business, if you own farms. It's going to increase your monthly costs. That's the reality of growth, in my opinion. Now, you obviously get to vote the way you want to. We're not trying to persuade you to vote yes, but we want to make sure you have the facts. Right now, comparatively, from a size standpoint, just strictly enrollment based, we're toward the bottom as far as our levy goes, 12.73. It's pretty low. Next slide. What this would actually do, and again on our website, we have a website that's strictly for the bond. It's very informational. You can actually just type in your information in there. It'll give you the exact calculation of what it's going to look like for you from an increase standpoint. But this is just kind of the raw numbers holistically. If you own a $250,000 home, that's going to be the monthly increase. Ag land varies a little bit based on the county that you live in, and it's off the assessed value, not the market value. That's important. We'll have a guy named Matt Gillespie at our session on Monday night from Piper Sandler. He is our tax guru, so he'll be able to really dive deep into what this looks like and, again, answer any specific questions that you may have. Next slide. Yeah, so again, how is this calculated? Let's just start with that $200,000 home right here. You're going to factor in that rollback. It gives us the taxable value of the home. You subtract the homestead credit. And then from there, you go to the levy, which is $2.70. You can do this different ways mathematically, but it's going to get you to this same dollar amount here. And then divide that by 12. That gives you your monthly increase. Again, we have a calculator built into that site so you can see exactly what it is. Next slide. Back to the levy rate comparatively. Again, this is just our conference, the Southeast Conference. We're on the bottom half. I know Fort Madison, they've never passed the GO bond that I'm aware of. They use save dollars to do what they did with their facilities. Again, back over there. I would encourage you to just scan this. So if you haven't seen the website, go ahead and get your phone and scan that so you have it. Just go to that site so it's in your phone so you've got it. If you want to go back to it later so you know what it is, but it's fairfieldsbond.org. So I'll give you a second to do that just so you've got the information. Yeah, get those phones out. fairfieldsbond.org. It may be too far, I'm not sure, but fairfieldsbond.org. Next slide. That's what it looks like. Again, we have a ton of information on the homepage. We have the tax impact, the how to vote testimonials, and then just a ton of FAQs. There's a way to submit questions on the site as well. I've probably gotten about 25 of those over the last couple weeks. Just had a really good one today with a ton of questions. So we're doing our best to answer those as they come in and then add them to the FAQ page as well. Next slide. So what happens after the fact? The bond, if it passes, if we get that 60%, essentially we get to work right away. We're going to have stakeholder teams that will be assembled to work with FEH, who is our architecture firm. They'll be coming down multiple times. We'll have those meetings set up. Are you good? Nope, not good. Good. So it'll probably take about 6 to 9 months to really get the final architectural renderings done, the actual specs complete, and then Carl A. Nelson, who's our construction management team, they'll get all the bids going out, so we then will have numbers to bring back to the board table. We'll have the different contractors that want to be a part of this back to the board table so they can then vote on what happens, who's going to be awarded those bids. With the goal of breaking ground in the spring of 27, that'll give us another full year and a few months to get the building completed, and we would open in the fall of 2028. Next slide. A lot of these have come and gone. Like I said, this is our last one right here, Monday night. Obviously, the in-person absentee voting, that started, I think, today, right? And then just thinking about getting to the polls if you're not going to do anything prior to that to make your voice heard. We would love that. Next slide. So it's what we do at our forums. While we're talking, people will submit questions. They write them on note cards or they'll shoot an email, and then we'll answer those throughout the course of that half hour, 45 minutes, whatever it ends up being. I do want to make sure too. I've got a bunch of different handouts, and I'll leave these out back when you leave if you want to grab one. But one of them is just an opportunity if you want to come visit the middle school. You can sign up for a tour right here, and one of us will meet you there Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, doesn't matter when. We'll give you a tour so you can see firsthand why this is the plan that we've moved forward with. We've got another big kind of 6-page document. It's a lot of the information on here, all the FAQs that we've had come in as well, so I'll have that one out back. I'll have our strategic plan that I alluded to at the front end, how it all connects to our vision to be a destination district, which will also make it a destination community in Southeast Iowa for sure. So we'll have a copy of that if you want to see what that looks like. And then finally, the last piece, and this is a really, really confusing document, but it really breaks down the tax impact on one side. I've got the amortization schedule of what the bond would actually play out like from a financing standpoint over time. We've got that information as well, but like I said, Matt Gillespie will be speaking a little bit more intentionally around that on Monday night. So I'll have all of these. I'll leave them out there when we're all done. I don't know if I've got more time. I'd be happy to take a couple questions. Usually I don't like doing this, but it looks like a pretty nice crowd, so we'll see how it goes. Do I have time?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Does anybody have a question?
Bob. Yep.
If we do not build the building, we still incur costs. Can you talk to us about
For sure.
the relative value of having the building, spending the same amount of money and
Will you repeat the question?
Yeah. So the question is, so looking at our current structure, what would be the cost to renovate and upkeep over the next 20 years? Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm really bad at standing. I like to walk. So, yeah, so it's, that's option one. So if you look at option one, the total cost over 20 years, I'd have to look it up on my I have a whole sheet that outlines this, but we got three options. Option one is to fully renovate the structure as it sits. Over the next 20 years, the reoccurring costs, including like the people that work there, like the staff, all the upkeep, it's in, I'm gonna find the number, hang on, just give me a second. All right. So the existing actual building, over 20 years plus 3% inflation and all of the costs that go into that over time, it's going to be roughly $151 million is what we would put into that building over the next 20 years. Now, that's not the building itself. That includes, you know, telephone, internet, elevator, there's just tons of line items of things in this. The teacher's salaries that are in there, like it's including all of that. So it's really the cost with everything associated with that building, $151,877. Option A, so that's the existing actual renovate. Fully renovate, expand existing and district office. So that cost would be roughly $126 million. The yearly operations, and again, this is with everything in there, from copy machines to travel for employees, from like everything that we would consider part of that building. It's about $4.6 million a year. Operating expenses for the new middle school and district office, which would be this one, it's $116-ish million over 20 years plus inflation and all the costs, which is about $4.31 million a year. If you're thinking about just the building itself, the cost that we would put into that building over the next 20 years to fully renovate, get it where we want it, is roughly $40 million just for the building to get renovated. That doesn't include any of the other reoccurring costs, the things that the people that work there, all that kind of stuff. So, good question. And I have that document I could share with you too. Yep.
in the event that the cost is a lot higher than the bond can support,
Great question. Question is, so let's say once we get through this process, yes, we have these estimates, but now we actually have the hard, fast numbers, and it comes in at $54 million instead of 49, right? So what we've already been able to do from a planning standpoint, this happened last year, we were able to get an approved save dollar amount up to $20 million. So that already got voted on. We have that as needed. So if this one passes, we'll have the 39.5, and we'd have access to bond against that penny up to 20 million. So that would get us to that, 59 million. So we should have enough if needed, if it gets kind of crazy with some of those things. But again, we're going to be pretty on top of making sure that we stay where we said we're going to stay. So great question. Yep.
Yeah, I have two questions. One of them is, I was looking at the existing building, and there's a number in there of $1.2 million per year
There, yes, I've got that document as well. Caroline Nelson put one together for us last year that I'm happy to share with you. So make sure I get your email and I can share that with you. Great question. He was asking if, sorry, just make sure everyone else hears that question. He was asking about a breakdown of the actual costs associated with the building reoccurring the current middle school.
Right, 'cause that's the biggest thing where the existing building costs more than the new building. And the other thing, my other question is, where does the interest and the amortization of the principal on this $49 million building, where does that go into this thing? This is comparing operations costs. It doesn't seem to be adding in a line of finance.
I do have that in this other document that I was just talking about. So there's two separate documents.
Like financing costs of a $49 million building would be considerable. And, you know, obviously just paying back the principal, paying back the interest on that over the next 20 years is going to be, it seems like in order to compare the total cost, you want to calculate in the interest expense and the amortization of the principal and see what the total cash out is over that period, not just look at the operating costs.
Correct, and that is built into the option 3 on that one document. It's got that built into it. And then Matt Gillespie from Piper Sandler, he actually has a breakdown, and again, it's not on this slide deck, but he'll talk about this on Monday night. It's got a breakdown of all of that specifically connected to the bond. Yep. Yeah, he was asking about the amortization, the paying back of the loan. Is that built into the overall operational costs for option number 3? That was your question, I think, right? Yep.
It seems like, you know, whatever they're over 20 years, that I don't see that line item at all. So maybe it's
Okay, maybe I missed it. Other questions? Yeah.
Can you highlight the importance of the student's experience and how investing in this bond will impact the future of our students?
Yeah, so when this kind of all started, it was before I was here, it was before a lot of our current board members are on, that are on the board now. There was actually a group of people that came together to kind of look down the road, like what do we want 40 years from now, the Fairfield Community School District to look like, right? So as enrollment has continued to decline, there was definitely this mindset around let's try to figure out a way to get all of us in some capacity at a centralized location. So this is a very, first step of getting there. So I think that's number one. It was definitely feedback from that group initially to let's bring things closer together so we are more of a K-12 system as opposed to all these separate entities as a part of the district. And I think when you talk about a new facility for a good chunk of our kids, whether that's 450 or 500 students, kind of depending on the year in grades 5 through 8, it really does provide them a smile when they walk into a new facility. Number one, they're going to be excited just about, wow, this is cool. This is ours that I get to be a part of. We hear them, and I was able to speak to all the middle school students just to give them a little insight because we didn't do a very good job of that last year, like giving them information so they had it too. But you'll hear them a lot, like they'll go to this district or they'll go to that district for an event, whether again it's athletic or extracurricular or whatever. It's like, man, they have really nice stuff, right? Like that just, initially that just, it makes kids feel better, number one. Now, what we don't want to have happen is just that being where it stops, right? We need to make sure that as part of that, our teachers are functioning at a high level, and what we communicate or what we have been communicating is really this idea of collective efficacy. We all have belief in what's happening as a system so that day to day in our classrooms, our kids believe that same thing. Now, do you have to have a new space for that to happen? No, you don't. That's the reality of it. But I know that what we're going to be able to do with some of these new spaces, more space, is going to increase the student engagement, the student satisfaction, even more. And it's going to do the same for our staff. And again, I can share a lot of different data from the last year, just from from a positives standpoint, but we're moving in a really good direction, and this is just going to continue to help us move in that direction even faster. Yeah.
Thought about the buildings that you occupy now out in that area?
Yes, yeah. So In that area, you're speaking specifically the ACT, the bus barn, and the roadway. Those 3 buildings, yeah. So what I had kind of shared on one of those slides, our plan right now, because when we got the feedback after this last vote, there wasn't any feedback that said, hey, why would you move the central office out there? The feedback was that was a good idea. So we'll sell the current ACT building. We'll sell the roadway building. Currently, we spend about 70 grand a year on those buildings, just reoccurring costs wise. So that'll be a savings, and then obviously we would reap whatever the sale price was of the ACT building and the roadway. The bus barn would remain there. That would remain operational the way that it currently sits. Yeah. So great question. The Iowa School Performance Profile just came out a couple weeks ago, right? And as a district, we saw the highest growth in proficiency that we've seen in quite a while. So we went from 71% proficient to right around 77% proficient. Now that's 3rd grade through 12th grade based on just the ISASP. When you look at our strategic plan, we've got it broken down by growth. So we focus on growth. We want kids to grow every single year where they should be. Now, there may be some kids that aren't proficient that do show that growth and they're still not proficient, but we consider that a win because they grew. So our growth goal was 100%. At the middle school, we had 2 grade levels that had 100% growth, not based on ISAS, but on other. We use MAP, and we use a thing called Easy CBM, FAST data for our 5th graders. So that's been a positive for sure from a literacy standpoint. If you look at our neighboring districts, which you don't want to compare too much, you want to look at growth, but proficiency-wise, 77% as a district is higher than anybody around us. So that's a really positive thing too. We still have work to do. Our goal in our 5-year strategic plan is to get to 85% proficient K through 12. That would be insane, but awesome. Yeah.
I just wanted to make one point too. I saw those numbers today on enrollment too, and that in those 4th grades.
Yep.
The general trend over the last 5 and 10 years is down. I mean, enrollment in those 4th grades was 532 10 years ago, dropped to 480 5 years ago, and down to 447 now. So that's like a 16% drop in enrollment in 10 years, or about a 7% drop in the last 5 years.
And those are considered butts and seats. Those are heads, right? That's different from certified enrollment.
Okay. In general, there's sort of a trend of
And yep.
needing more.
This isn't going to be more space. Yeah, this won't be more space. This is just going to be new refined space. But it's not, I mean, it's a little bit more space from a square footage standpoint, but it's not like, adding an insane amount of space that's not needed. Great question, though. So is it Roger? Yeah, Roger. So, yeah, he was one that had emailed me earlier today just asking some questions. And over the last 10 years from a heads, butts, and seats at the middle school, it's probably dropped around 100. There's been some ups and downs just for whatever reason. But like I said, the next week is when we'll be able to share. This is the first year in quite a while where it's going to be the other way. And I'm confident that we're going to dive into why and make sure that that's what continues. Good stuff.
All right, let's give Zach a round of applause.
Thank you. I'll have all the handouts will be out there too.
Please pick up the handouts. Please be an informed voter. And if you still have questions, come to the Monday. It's always great to have the numbers guy give the numbers because they're real numbery. As somebody who's not the numbers guy. Okay, thank you, Zach. You are doing a great job, and we are so excited to have you in Fairfield. Mr. Paul Gandy, would you please join me? So there's been a change in the Ward 2 race. We contacted all of the candidates, and candidate Matthew W. Johnson has withdrawn from this race, stating that it's not the right time for him to run. His name will still appear on the ballot. And due to that fact, we are going to give Councilmember Paul Gandy, who is the incumbent running, 5 minutes to just have his piece because he's on the ballot. So, Mr. Paul Gandy.
Thank you, Mindy. Can you hear me? All right. Ms. Parker, I know we're supposed to be out of here by 7:30, so that would give me, what, about 35 minutes? Okay, I just wanted to confirm that. All right, well, okay. Good evening, everyone, to the Fairfield Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for hosting this forum and ensuring our community remains engaged in the civic process. And to all of you, thank you for sticking around this evening. It's late, but your commitment to being here reflects the engaged, passionate citizens who make Fairfield the special place it is. My name is Paul Gandy, and I am asking for your vote to serve a third term on the City Council from the 2nd Ward. My core commitment is simple: to protect and grow Fairfield responsibly and sustainably. 8 years ago, I first asked for your trust. Today, I stand before you not just as a candidate, but as a proven representative who has been dedicated to this community for my first 2 terms. My deep institutional knowledge is based and built on full engagement. I have served on every standing city council committee. That includes Ways and Means, commonly called Finance, Water and Sewer, Property, Environmental and Franchise Utilities, Personnel, Public Safety and Transportation, and Economic Development. I believe that being a city council member is not about politics. It's about pragmatic solutions, fiscal responsibility, and ensuring that the small town quality of life that we cherish here in Fairfield is sustainable for generations to come. Together, we've accomplished a great deal. We've maintained stable property tax rates while prioritizing essential services. We've supported downtown revitalization efforts that promise to create jobs and vibrancy. My core belief is that a rising tide lifts all boats. I see the city's role as a supportive and proactive leader as needed, encouraging smart economic development, and not only that, but responsibly expanding our tax base to ensure a healthier, more prosperous future for every resident and every business in Fairfield. A crucial part of my leadership has been my service as the chair of the Fairfield Rural Housing Readiness Assessment Steering Committee. That's a mouthful, or we call it the Housing Task Force, from 2022 to 2025. That committee's extensive work, its comprehensive survey, findings, and action plan didn't just produce a report. It directly paved the way for significant economic development, such as our vital Sunrise Trail housing development, and as you've heard several times this evening, securing the prestigious Main Street Iowa designation for our downtown. These initiatives are direct investments in our community's capacity to grow, attracting new talent and new investment. Beyond this, we've focused on long-term infrastructure planning, ensuring our water, sewer, and road systems are modernized and reliable. We have built strong working relationships with our business community, many of you in this room, because we recognize that City Hall's greatest role is to create a predictable, fertile environment for local enterprise to thrive. Now, this election is unusual. My name is on the ballot alongside another candidate, and while I respect anyone who steps forward to serve, the other candidate has decided to discontinue his campaign. However, his name remains on the ballot because the official withdrawal deadline has passed. This race, therefore, presents Fairfield voters with a clear contrast. The duties of a city council member require total dedication, a deep understanding of municipal finance, and the ability to hit the ground running on day one. Fairfield is at a crucial point. The fundamental choice before us is between continuity, proven experience, the momentum we've built, versus the uncertainty of starting over. We need experienced leaders who can manage to guide our post-pandemic economic recovery, make difficult decisions based on facts and truth, and manage our ambitious growth strategy. I'm ready. I've been ready for 8 years, and my commitment is stronger than ever. Looking ahead, A third term for me is about 3 clear priorities. First, responsible economic development. We must continue to take a supportive or leadership role as needed to encourage smart economic development, ensure job growth, and expand our tax base sustainably. Second, continued fiscal responsibility. Drawing upon my extensive service on the Ways and Means Committee, we must maintain disciplined budget management and fiscal planning to ensure stable property tax rates and efficient use of every public dollar. And third, upholding the integrity of our democratic process, the integrity of our elections, and the safety of our dedicated election workers, like my own mother, who serves still in Texas as an election worker at age 90, is a cornerstone of our form of government. I commit to working with the County Auditor's Office to ensure our local polling locations are safe, accessible, and run with the highest level of professionalism, confidence, and respect for all Fairfield voters. Again, I'm Paul Gandy. I have the experience, the proven track record, and the dedication to continue serving you effectively. When you fill out your ballot, I ask you to vote for the candidate who is ready to serve right now and who is committed to the future success of our great city. Finally, voting is the mother of all rights, in my opinion. Please exercise that right and vote early if you can to avoid any last-minute rush. Early voting is currently underway at the Jefferson County Courthouse. It started today, and it will continue on weekdays from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. with a couple of days until 5 p.m. through Monday, November 3rd. The final day of voting, which will take place at your particular ward polling location, will be on Tuesday, November 4th. Please make your voice heard. Thank you very much, and I look forward to speaking with any of you individually in the days ahead.
Well, I don't have to tell you how to vote now. He did. We'd like to give a round of applause again to our sponsor, Freeman Kevenides Law Firm, for making sure that this event always happens. And we want to say thank you to Jason, because I know that the superintendent moving him around was not in our plan. So I'll have to give him something later. If you are not signed up for Chamber Chatter, that's our twice weekly e-newsletter. Please do so. You'll never miss another event, and you'll be up on all of the key information. Just go to fairfieldiowa.com, scroll down halfway, and click subscribe now. A reminder, next week is the Manufacturers Appreciation Luncheon, and deadline for RSVP is on Monday. And yes, the keynote address will be by Governor Kim Reynolds. If you would like to be on Chamber Talk with Jason and I, it's a super fun time. Bob Ferguson can tell you he did today, so get that done. And the holiday tradition is right around the corner. Watch for those Tree of Lights campaigns in your newspaper soon. We want to say thank you to all of the candidates that came tonight. All 3 of our school board candidates were here. Bob Ferguson, running for at-large, was here. So some of those unopposed folks, thank you for coming out and making your, it's really great for when you can actually meet the people that are representing you. If you've not met the people that are representing you, please reach out to them. Your voice, you are who they are supposed to be protecting. So reach out. They are really great about responding. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you being part of this process. Have a great night and safe travels.